Oh, thank you.
Okay, Nicole, 5 seconds.
Thank you for joining us again. I've just received a bulletin from the Northwest Wire Service. The Graham County Express heading north with stops at Lawrenceville, Grand Falls Garrison, and Redstone Prison derailed earlier this evening as a driving rainstorm washed out the Grand Falls Bridge. Rescue teams at the site report extensive damage to the train. Many of the passengers are feared dead.
Hey, what are you doing? Still pacing the floor? Why aren't you resting?
Because I'm too tense. I tried to sleep. It's impossible.
All right, I'll have one of the nurses get you something to help you
Miles,
relax.
I don't want any medication. The fact is, I'm worried about Draper. I mean, you had to see him here this morning. He walked in. He tried to put on such a brave front, saying goodbye, but Miles, he's scared. I know he is. He's got to be, just at the thought of spending 15 years in prison. Oh, no, something else. I've got this feeling, this awful feeling that I'm never even going to see him again.
April, I know the separation is traumatic for you, but you've got to just try to settle down, to adjust, and to wait it out.
Miles, I'm never going to adjust to the fact that my husband is gone, and I simply have no intention of just forgetting about him.
No one expects you to do that.
If I could, I'd go up and visit him right now.
Well, before you do any visiting up at the prison, you're going to have to get your strength back, and that means getting plenty of rest.
Well, I can't right now. Too keyed up. Let's go for a walk. Maybe I'll work off some nervous energy.
Okay, sure.
Oh, boy.
Which way you want to go? You want to take the high road up past the nurse's station or the low road into the waiting room?
Let's take the low road. I prefer to avoid the nurse's station if possible. Oh, I'll tell you, you know, being alone with my thoughts isn't too comforting. Thanks for coming back and looking in on me.
That's what a big brother's for, isn't it?
Well, listen, when you and Nicole were here before, I appreciate everything you've done, but when I told you to go home and take care of your own business, I meant it.
What makes you think we didn't?
Well, because a boomerang couldn't have gotten back here any faster than you did.
Well, for your information, miss, Nicole is down at WMON anchoring the news, and I thought, well, okay, as long as she is taking care of her business, I might as well take care of some of mine. I work here, you know.
And I just happened to be in the neighborhood.
Absolutely, yes. I'm looking in on one of my patients, and I happened to run into Dr. Buckley, who is waiting for another expectant mother.
Did she say anything about Julia?
Yes. As far as she's concerned, mother and child are doing just fine.
Draper and I made a perfect little girl, didn't we?
Absolutely perfect. A little bit small, but perfect. She's going to have to be in that isolate for another month or so.
Oh, I can't tell you how much I yearn to hold that baby in my arms.
I know. I know. She's got to be a patient here a while longer. You don't have to be, though. Dr. Buckley told me she'd be willing to give you your walking papers anytime you want them.
Yeah. But that means I'd have to go home. I don't have anything or anyone to go home to.
April, you don't have to go back to Oakdale.
Miles, anywhere I live, I'll be alone.
Not if you take a room at 320 River Road.
It's your house.
Very good, very good. Now, Nicole and I, we'd really like for you to come stay with us for as long as you like.
Miles, it's a very kind gesture, but I don't know.
Why not?
Well, I don't want your pity.
You don't have our pity. You have our love. You need some loving care right now. Who better to give it to you than your own family?
Well, it's a tempting offer.
Does that mean you accept, or am I going to have to arm wrestle you for it, huh? That's 3 out of 5?
Okay.
You always beat me.
Miles, I don't want to be a burden to you, Nicole, either.
How can you be a burden on people who love you?
Listen, just because my whole world is turned upside down right now, that doesn't mean it has to interfere with your lives.
Look, you're a very important part of Nicole's and my life. And I don't think we'd be happy knowing you were all by yourself.
Yeah? I think you got yourself a house guest.
Good. All right.
Oh, thanks.
That settles it. Now, why don't you try and get some rest, huh?
Oh, okay. Listen, we might even be able to catch some more Nicole on the news, huh?
I thought you said you didn't want to hear the news anymore.
Well, I don't. Or at least I don't want to hear about Draper on the news. I don't want to hear anything about his trial or his sentence or anything. But I will tell you one thing. I have kind of gotten used to seeing Nicole's mug on the tube.
Well, if there's anything about Draper, it's probably on the early part of the show. She's up to the weather by now, I'll bet.
You know, speaking of the weather, even that's making the news lately. That must be some storm upstate.
Get under the covers.
That's tonight's early report. I'll be back at 11 with all the news you need to know. WMON, this is Nicole Drake.
Miles, she sounded kind of down, didn't she?
Well, she's got all those reports about Draper. How else would she sound?
No, there's something else. I don't know, she looked really worried, didn't she?
What did you find out?
Nicole, we've managed to get through to the state police in Grand Falls. They're still trying to piece together what happened. But apparently the force of the impact was so great that some of the passengers were thrown clear of the train and into the river.
Oh, God.
The thing is that the currents of the river there are very strong, and they're afraid that some of those bodies may never be recovered.
Why did it have to be the Graham County Express?
The rescue teams are moving in now to get to the injured, so it might be a little while before we get any more details. But the point is that it was the first 3 cars that took the brunt of the crash, and if Draper was sitting in the rear of the train, well, he might very well have escaped injury.
Yes, but what if he was in the first car?
But we don't know that yet. No, so there's no reason to despair.
Relax, darling. I've never seen you so nervous.
I'm not nervous. Fine. No, I'm not fine. Now that all the boxes have been sent off, there's not a reason in the world why we should be here. Stupid of us not to have made our reservations to LA for tonight. What on earth possessed us to decide on tomorrow?
Why the rush? Don't tell me you're letting them get to you, those eager beavers of the Monticello Police Department.
Well, they have practically turned this house into an extension of police headquarters, dropping in whenever they feel like it. God, I don't like those people.
Well, you have nothing to fear from them.
No, I got rid of all those illegal drugs. But they're on a witch hunt, Elliott. I can tell. They want to burn me at the stake.
Darling, I'm afraid you're getting a little paranoid.
Deborah Saxon despises me, Elliott.
Well, it was a rotten little trick you played on her. Not to mention Dr. Kavanaugh.
Look, I admit it was a foolish thing to do. But to hound me day and night to get back at me? I don't trust them. Any of them. Vindictive little people. Suddenly, I'm feeling very thirsty. And not for more coffee. Will you join me, Elliott?
That's not mineral water you're drinking, my dear.
I'm well aware of that.
It's the first time in a long time I've seen you take hard liquors.
Well, it's an occasion. This is our farewell and good riddance drink to Monticello.
Shall I get that?
No, I might as well. It's probably Monticello's finest. This time with rubber hoses in hand. Owen!
Hello, Nola. Sorry I didn't call first, but of course this still is my house.
Oh, come in. Look who's here, Elliott.
Hello, Owen.
Elliott.
Oh, what brings you out here?
A couple of things. I'm taking the late flight out to Los Angeles in a couple of hours, and I thought the civilized thing to do would be to at least drop by and say goodbye.
Well, how thoughtful of you. Elliott and I were just about to drink to a toast to our imminent departure. Would you care to join us?
I thought you were on the wagon.
Owen, it's one little drink.
You're an alcoholic.
I'm a big girl.
Here's a handy tip, Elliott, from one who knows when you try to sober up later, don't bother with a hot coffee. It just doesn't do a damn bit of good.
Look, is that all, Owen? I wouldn't want you to miss your plane.
I have one more obligation to perform. This is for you. It's a copy of the release print of Mansion of the Damned.
Well, at last. Thank you, darling.
I hope you enjoy your performance.
I'm sure I will.
Although you probably topped Hester Atherton with your portrayal of Martha Corey.
I'm looking forward to seeing this.
And when will you be leaving for California?
Tomorrow? We must have lunch at Chasen's sometime.
Remember how I always used to hate the size of Los Angeles? Well, now I guess it's kind of a blessing, isn't it?
Why?
Means the chances of us running into each other are pretty remote. And I just hope to God I never see you again. Well, I do have that plane to catch. Don't bother to show me out. Goodbye.
I'm sorry if that man upset you.
Don't be silly. I'm glad he came by.
Or you could have fooled me.
Now I really have something to drink to. Here's to Mansion of the Damned. That was so tasty, I think I'll have another.
I think the bar is closed, Nola.
What do you think you're doing?
I'd rather you didn't.
Oh, since when did you become a member of the Temperance League?
I've never found drunken women terribly attractive, and I have no intention of putting up with an alcoholic wife the way Owen did.
I see.
And I've no desire, no patience to play wet nurse to you after one of your binges.
Elliott, why are you making a federal case out of one little drink, and the first one in months at that?
I just want you to know how I feel, Nola.
You're very quick, darling. You've been looking for an excuse, and this is just what you were waiting for, isn't it?
Nola, now look.
Your level of passion has dropped considerably during the past few weeks.
I hadn't noticed.
Yes, and I know why. You've taken up with that little tramp again.
Nola, I prefer not to discuss that.
No sooner did that blackbird land in Monticello that you began billing and cooing with her.
Nola, I've told you more than once that my relationship with Raven ended months ago.
Yeah, it's just like the good old days when you were cheating on Margo.
I'm really getting sick and tired of your jealous accusations.
Well, now that you have your Raven back, it's time to dump the old crow. Is that your plan?
I think your abstinence from alcohol has lowered your tolerance. I assume that's the liquor talking.
Elliott, look, we have such a wonderful future ahead of us. Please don't let that woman ruin everything.
Well, we'll discuss this when you're in a more reasonable frame of mind. I'm going out for some fresh air.
Oh, darling, the only reason I said those things was because I love you.
Well, I'd hate to see the way you treat me if you hated me.
I'm sorry. Please, forgive me. I won't touch another drink, I swear.
Don't wait up for me, Nola.
Elliott, don't go, please. Let's sit down and watch our movie together. You do want to see the film?
Good night, Nola.
Why couldn't that little tart have stayed in England? Yes.
Nola, I'm glad I caught you in.
Who is this?
It's Deborah Saxon.
What do you want now?
I'd like to come by your house in a little while.
You're not welcome in this house.
I have something very important to discuss with you.
Well, I have nothing to say to you.
Then you can listen to me.
No. I'm more than a little tired of all our little talks. I'm in no mood to be browbeaten anymore.
I have something to show you, Mrs. Madison. Something that I think you'll be very interested in seeing.
Why doesn't some information come over the wire? I can't stand waiting much longer.
Now, please, Nicole, try to relax. Losing your composure isn't going to get that information to us any faster.
Hello, how's my favorite newscast, Geraldine?
Miles?
All set for dinner? Would you like to join us, by the way?
You haven't heard?
Heard what?
Well, it must be all over the news by now.
Well, April and I got to talking. We missed the news.
There's been an accident. The train that was carrying Draper to prison has been in a terrible wreck.
What?
Miles, it may turn out to be the worst train disaster in a decade. They still don't know how many people might have been killed.
Was there any word on Draper?
Well, bits and pieces of information keep coming in, but so far there isn't any word on survivors.
Where's this crash?
Grand Falls.
Maybe I should drive up there. Yeah, they may need a doctor. I might be able to find out about Draper.
Well, yes, but April might need you.
Miles, the best place to wait it out for more details is right here. We have every news-gathering source at our fingertips, and we'll be the first to know.
Well, I guess you're right.
April doesn't know anything about this.
Not
letter.
when I left the hospital, she didn't.
Well, I hope no one tells her until we have good news to give her.
This just came in from the Grand Falls Tribune. I thought you'd want to see it.
Thank you.
What does it say?
At 6:42 p.m., the northbound Graham County Express derailed while crossing the Grand Falls Bridge. Heavy rains weakened the structure, causing some 20 feet of track to become dislodged. The train reached the abyss while traveling at a speed of 50 miles an hour, hurtling it off the track. Rescue teams have recovered the following bodies from the wreck and the riverbank.
Is Draper's name on the list?
No, there are no familiar names there.
Thank God.
There are only half a dozen names on that. But they're afraid the toll might reach 40 or 50. Thank you. Firefighting apparatus and ambulances from 4 neighboring counties have been called to the site of the wreck.
We're gonna have a minicam crew up there pretty soon. Hopefully they'll be sending some pictures back.
Nicole, should we have on the air some sort of special report?
Yeah, but we have to wait for the visuals to go with the copy.
It's quite a first day on the job for you, isn't it, Geraldine?
Well, Miles, I knew it would be a memorable day, but I had no idea that circumstances would be so tragic.
More news from Grand Falls.
Thank you, Harley. It's a list of the confirmed fatalities. There must be at least 24.
What does it say?
I'm afraid to read it.
Now, please, Nicole. This may sound callous, but that may contain good news, at least for us.
I hope you're right. God.
You better tell us.
2 of the bodies found were those of Deputy Sam Dwyer and his prisoner, Draper Scott.
Thanks. I know it's kind of late to see the baby, but I really just want to see my daughter.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You know, your little girl seems to be getting bigger every day.
Oh, yeah, doctor says she should be ready to come home in a couple weeks.
Yeah, she's quite a looker. Prettiest little baby in the nursery. I'll open the curtain for you.
Thanks a lot. Hey there. Hi, Julia. How you doing? You know, I miss you when I don't see you. I miss your daddy, too. It's just gonna be you and me, Julia. Just the two of us. For a long